Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you went out and enjoyed yourself and enjoyed your family, enjoyed your friends. I hope you're ready for another week of trading. I know I am. I'm excited about it. So let's get to it. We got to go. And first up, as always, we're gonna look at our S&P. And S&P dropped off a little bit on Friday. Came down and tested this area here for support, and now you see it's in our trade wind, so we're going to have to see what happens when the market opens. Pre-market, we really don't have much going on with the S&P currently, and this is so next up is going to be Bitcoin, and I always like to take a look at Coinbase Bitcoin first. And Coinbase Bitcoin, as you can see, we dropped off quite a bit over that. It looks like we want to continue to go lower. Alright, so be careful with Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going to continue to fall till we find some support down in here somewhere, and I'll see if we can find some support on the Thinkorswim Bitcoin chart. So let's take a look at this Thinkorswim Bitcoin chart and see if we can get an idea of what's happening there. Alright, so Thinkorswim Bitcoin says Uchi. It dropped down here. Looks like we're getting ready to go back down here and close this window at 77,000, which will put us below our trade winds, which could be a little bit of an issue as well. Got some overhead breeze overhead that's forcing us downward over the top of our wings, and it's forcing us below these winds that were acting as the support. But we'll see what happens. Give it a day or two to see what happens in here and see if we continue dropping. As you can see on Coinbase, this is probably going to open up when Thinkorswim opens up trading at 6 or at 9:30 Eastern time. Then we're going to know what's happening here if we're going to continue to sell off. But we look at our and this is our Bitcoin futures, of course, and we're down in here right now on almost at the bottom of our trade winds. We haven't broken all the way through yet, so there's no need to completely panic, but it is continue to look weak for Bitcoin. Here at 74, if we break through here 74, then we know we're going to continue to head lower in Bitcoin. All right, next up is our oil, and our oil is trying to hang around in this area here where we know we had some support going on. It looks like it wants to push back up into the $67 area here. So keep an eye on oil. Oil's trying to fight back a little bit in this area. Oil, we might get a little bit of a bounce, but then we're gonna, most likely pull back into here and retest the support area before trying to get through these trade winds. We need to bring these trade winds down lower. Since we know this is our support area, we need to get these trade winds down lower in here so we can have more strength once we consolidate to push through them. Alright, next up is the E-mini, and E-mini has dropped below our trade winds. We do have a little bit of a recourse here, our downward pressure here from these winds are coming overhead, and if this support doesn't hold here at 56, and look out below on the S&P 500 index futures. Next up is Ethereum, and Ethereum got some support here at 1900. 1900 doesn't hold, then look out below on Ethereum. We do have this overhead pressure coming down from our trade winds that are going to be acting as a resistance. So if this starts to roll over even more, we know we're heading lower on Ethereum. Same thing, Ethereum. We got our gold, and our gold is showing that it wants to come back down and retest the support area. So we're finally getting the idea where the gold wants to go at the moment. We got in these, we kept running up against here, and finally it's showing us we're going to open up below this doji here, which indicates that it wants to continue to go lower So look for some support here. If that doesn't hold, we look for some support here. If that doesn't hold, and we're gonna look. You see the lines. So that's where we're gonna try to draw it at. We got our trade winds coming up to act as some support. So they're taking their sweet time. So we're gonna have to have this come down real quick, get a hold, and bounce off of that. But we'll see what happens with gold. But gold is starting to show some weakness, and starting to show that obvious selling pressure on gold. All right, and this crossover, is almost the same as our MACD crossover here. Okay, so MACD's heading down, gold's heading down, and so is our ATR. All right. Next up is natural gas. Natural gas is continuing to push higher. Pushed up, put in this nice pin bar here. Got rejected at about $5. So we'll see what happens if our trade winds can get up here and get some support and keep it going higher. But so far, natural gas is still looking bullish. Natural gas is still looking bullish here. Next up is the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ has gotten below the trade winds. Below the trade winds are heading flat for the moment, and we still have this overhead pressure from our downwinds. And as these continue to head downward, and we continue to fight in this area, if we get our overhead pressure from these trade winds here start to roll over and press down more, we know we're going to be heading into a down market in the NASDAQ. And be careful with this support area here. It failed at one point with this pointer, and most likely we're going to come back down and test that area again where the bottom of this pointer is. If that doesn't hold us, then we're probably going to sell off. So we'll probably get like a little push down and close above this support area. But if we get close below the support area, then we'll reassess and understand that this is a area of importance, but they were selling off and there was nothing we could do to hold. But it has been bouncing around in here quite a bit, so we'll give it a little more importance for the support area, and we'll see what happens from here on out. These can go away. They didn't do a thing. Alright. Okay, so we got this overhead support resistance here, and we got this support here, so maybe we might bounce around in this range for a little bit and retest, or maybe we're just gonna give it up and head down lower. My guess, we're heading lower because the overall market is in a lot of pain right now. Next up is the silver futures, and silver futures are showing some little bit of a struggle in the same area. So still can't get up above and close above this. But we'll have to see what happens. We're still in an uptrending market, and we have to see how today plays out. If it pushes us up back up and get a close above here, but we need to get a close above this $33 area in silver for it to be safe at this price range. If this price range doesn't hold, then we're going to have this area of support down here, and our trade winds support us and give us that little spring to send us back up. So keep an eye on silver. But silver is still bullish and trying to head higher. Next up is the Dow, and the Dow's got to close in our trade winds. Got some overhead pressure, and looking for some support in here. If our trade winds, if we can't stay in our trade winds and get our trade winds to hold flat, and then maybe get some support to push us higher, get that wind beneath our wings and push us higher, then we know that this is our last line of defense here at 41,000 on the Dow. If that doesn't hold, next is going to be our corn. And our corn futures, we got the little bounce up, is trying to get back up through this support area here. We get a close above this and find some support, it may have enough to push it on up and continue going back higher. Right? SBAC It's one of our tickers that one of the followers that asked to see, and it's trying to push higher. It's heading into a positive market, but we got some rejection in this area up here, so let's try to get up in here and get a nice close up in here somewhere, and then see if we can find some support to continue higher on SBAC. And then Hershey, HSY, also is trying to push up through, find some support here at 182, so keep an eye on that. Currently in the pre-market is open above, it's up here somewhere. So Hershey may want to continue to go higher. All right. So keep an eye on that as well. It may want to run. I know it's got to get through this area and find some support up in here and show some conviction. And it's trying to. It's actually trying to push up. Got some overhead pressure over here on this one as well. Let's see. Open that up some more. Alright, so we got our overhead pressure up here, this resistance area that got rejected. Alright, so we'll see what happens with that. That was a nice little pointer we put in at one point at $193, but got rejected at 208, so it was a big bar that put in. Man, I bet you people were running in to get into that bar, boy. And then got rejected and pushed down into here. So be careful in this area. All right, we're going higher, but we get our trade winners to roll over and get our this little breeze to come up and stay below and continue to help lift, and we should continue higher in Hershey. All right, so that's all we got for this morning. Hope it was enough to make you make a decent decision. Most likely you're already in your trades and you're just riding them out for now. So that should be your game plan, and then you're just out scanning, looking for something to do quick ins and outs, but nothing long term at the moment, because unless you're already long terming certain stuff like I am, and you're just dollar cost averaging at this point and protecting with puts. So that's all I got for now. I hope you've already liked and subscribed and hit the notification bell. So be careful out there. These markets are crazy.